This video is to show you how to import and run a rollover type test on Core PT. So we have a session started at the moment, and from the information tab you can see that the interval or the logging period is 1 second, so it's taking a reading every 1 second. So we're going to go ahead and click start logging and set the offset. Now a rollover test is imported in exactly the same way as any other type of test, so we'll click on enter tests, front load from TDS, and then I'll type in a work order, a part number, and a serial number. Now obviously you would have these part numbers and serial numbers and work orders to hand, and then we'll go ahead and search in the TDS. Now I happen to know that this TDS has rollovers associated with it. So you can see here that the first 3 items in the list there are rollover 1, 2 and 3 on this particular TDS. So I'll click import and return to Core PT. And we can confirm by clicking tests again that the tests have been imported. So we're going to select the first rollover test and run it. So click select next test and it brings up the select next test form. You can see that the rollover tests look exactly the same as any other test apart from the fact that they've got the rollover flag set to true. So I'm going to go ahead and select the first one. So as soon as I click the row anywhere in the row to select the test, we are prompted to select which master hub is being used. So we maintain the divergence factors inside Core PT. And at the moment you can see that the test PSI is 2350, upper limit's 2400 and lower limit's 2300, and the test description is rollover 1. As soon as we select the divergence factor, the master hub, of which there is only one in the system just now, of 47, click OK, we can see that all these things get offset. So the test PSI is now being offset to 2397, upper limit 2447, etc. We also maintain which tests have had their master hub, the divergence factor, added to them by appending to the description. So you can see that the description is now MS47 rollover 1. This is necessary for internal database use. So we're going to click OK. Just before I do, you should note that we do not auto hunt for a rollover test. Rollovers are done manually, and that's why the checkbox that normally sits just above this OK button has now been made invisible, because the system has detected that a rollover test has been selected. So I'll go ahead and click OK. Now we're not showing you about JSA in this video, so I'll skip this part. Okay, so the JSA information has been entered in off video, and we're now running a test. So because the test is not auto-selected, you can see that this right-hand side cursor is not measuring the most recent log ID that's coming in. It's just I can click anywhere on the graph and change the position of it. So I'll go ahead and electronically simulate this rollover. So I'm going to start ramping up, and we can see that the test parameters that we're looking for is we're expecting the rollover to occur at 2397 psi. Or around that value. So at the moment I'm just looking here, and we're going to try and simulate the rollover at about 2400. So it would approach 2400 and then it would roll over, then it would settle, and then it would climb back up to a higher value but less than 3000, and then would switch the pressure off, so it would go back down to 0 again. So that's a representation of kind of what a rollover test would look like. It's not super accurate, as I'm sure you'll agree, but it kind of represents it. So the rollover that we're interested in electronically is this hump here. This first hump out of these two humps, that's where the rollover occurred. And the way that we get the software to actually look at that is we take the right cursor and we place it in the trough between the two humps. So I'll just right click on my mouse in the trough, and you can see that now the system recognises that this is a successful rollover. The way it does this is that it's actually interested in the maximum point between these two cursor positions. So between the left position and the right position, this cyan and yellow markers, it's seeing a maximum reading of 2406 psi. You can see it down here, and because it's 2406 psi, that actually passes the rollover parameter, so it calls it a good test. Now you can actually move this left cursor closer to the graph. You can actually move it halfway up the graph. We don't really mind. All we're looking for is the the cursors must be placed either side of this first hump for it to be able to determine that maximum value. If you'll recall, originally we used to be interested in the entire graph. The graph is in its entirety, and sometimes even groups of 3 rollover tests in their entirety. This is because we were working out the pressure after the fact, but we can actually work the pressure out live in real time on the shop floor if the system is configured such as the maximum pressure between the 2 points actually coincides with the rollover point. So what we can do to assign the test is we click this assign 2-point test form, and this is the same form that pops up automatically when you're doing a normal test, but it's been configured for rollovers this time. So you can see that the rollover test, the description has been filled in there. It automatically knows it's a test pass, and all you have to do is click OK, save assignment, and it will put the markers on the graph, and you're now ready to go back to select next test and then select the next one, and repeat the process until you've done all rollovers. Thank you.